Well, good morning. Happy Tuesday. I'm excited to be here with you today. And again, just a reminder that true love begins with you. That, when we love ourselves and take care of ourselves and we are assertive and set boundaries and communicate well and love ourselves and take care of ourselves, that true love really starts within us. And when we have true love, that really with ourselves, then it really exudes out to everybody else. And then we attract new partners, new friends, new life from that energy. And so that's really what's behind True Love Begins With You. So thank you for joining today. And today we're going to talk about how do you follow through for yourself? And the second item is how do you show all sides of yourself? So those are the two topics that we'll talk about today. And, I just wanted to share that I feel like I'm in a really big transition period in my life, and I really have been reevaluating everything, like starting off with my bucket list, starting off with where do I want to live. I'm not a houseplant, and, if I want to get up and move, I can go ahead and do that. So where do I want to live? How am I loving myself? How am I taking care of myself? And really, where do I want, what do I want in my life this next season of life? And I heard that somewhere, it's halftime, get back in the game. And I finally feel like I'm there, like getting back in the game after my toxic marriage of 20 years and after doing some deep healing myself. And so, I'm in this transition period, and, one of the things that I was reevaluating was my bucket list, like what's on my bucket list. And, I really, was starting to write down all my things on my list. And one of the things that I really want is a driver adventure motorhome. And, I really want this like kind of smaller, like 26-foot driver, like van, class B kind of motorhome where I get to have some adventures and see the world. And I love waterfalls, and I just want to go hiking and see all different size waterfalls and just go to national parks. And I just that has always been on my bucket list, and I want to go do that, So I've been, kind of perusing some RV sites and doing different things. And this bucket list is kind of a combination of a new old dream. And when I was married, the ex and I bought a driver motorhome, and it was partially for adventure. But the other thing is that as a nutritional therapist and a personal trainer, I also bought a motorhome because I thought about going to different events, like different races and different farmers markets and stuff like that, and parking my motorhome and inviting people in for a nutritional consult and to do their body mass index. So it was going to be part business and part adventure. And, with that, bought the motorhome, and, I went on a couple of trips by myself, but we went on a couple of trips with the ex, and that was it. And so, when I left the marriage, I actually gave up the motorhome. And, I was kind of bummed about that, but at the same token, I didn't really have a place to park it. I'm not really into maintenance, that sort of thing, but I gave up my baby, and I love that motorhome. And, I went on a recent trip to close to Bend, Oregon, to Central Oregon. And on the way back, I just had a blast. I stopped off at all the little places that I wanted to go on and go adventure. I stopped off at a canyon and watched this really cool, railroad trestle that I'd always wanted to stop off at, but never got a chance to with the ex. And I stopped off at a little baby casino just to check it out. Never really been inside there. I went to Mount Hood and checked out the visitor center and got to see the people go skiing there. And on the way home, I stopped off at an RV dealership. And At this point in my life, I'm not really prepared to go buy one, but I could definitely go ahead and dream about it. So I talked to the salesperson, and I went ahead and looked at a couple of rigs and got a chance to talk about it. And on the drive home, just like all this stuff was percolating for me, and it just was really invigorating. And to get connected with my old vision of driving a motorhome and having excursions and having it for a client mobile. But the new bucket list thing is, I recently have been doing some stories, some research on true love. And I've interviewed like 5 women, 40 plus, about true love, about, how they got to 40 or 50. And I even interviewed a woman in her 60s. And these women, Gail Ann, Mary, Angie, and Shannon, all were amazing women to interview. And they all had stories of being in toxic relationships. And it was just an amazing thing to sit across from them, to hear their stories, their toxic marriage, and their stories of being in these marriages and these dead-end relationships. And yet each one of them have found true love later in life. And, for me going into this, I was kind of a little bit jaded about true love. There's just been a lot of hurt and pain in my life around partnered relationships. And I didn't know if I would ever do those again, but, I'd always had hoped. But sitting across from these women about 2.5 months ago, these stories are just incredible. And feeling their energy and seeing their emotions and looking in their eye and seeing the sparkle in their eye again just really implanted this seed in myself about maybe this is possible. Maybe this is possible for me again. And, I just was really invigorated. And, that's when I started on this journey of changing, my focus of changing from helping women heal from toxic relationships to helping women find true love. Like, it was a very deep and very insightful connection with these women to just see how, they've gone from despair and these relationships not working to having these wonderful relationships later in life. And it was so impactful to me that I changed, my direction in life, and it really kind of gave me hope, that there's restoration and that there's resilience in women. And, when I reclaim all of that, and when I, focus on love from the heart and hope and my resilience, of course I can have true love. And maybe I was holding myself back with all of that, and had some fear and, being scared around it, and lack of inner trust. Those stories were so powerful to me that I was like, well, maybe other women need to hear these stories. And I was just reminded of coupling all of that, these stories of finding love and redemption and resilience and hope and sparkle and love. What if other women need to hear that? And what if, I have this driver motorhome that goes around and talking with women 40 plus about finding true love and what their journey has been. And, poof, like that just kind of blew my head up. And then now that's on my bucket list. So I just, there's just been these, fascinating stories about women later in life finding true love, and hearing and looking and seeing and feeling, across from them, just that redemption and love and resilience. And it gave me so much hope. I know I'm repeating it, but it was really a powerful moment. weeks that when I was doing these interviews that were really powerful. And maybe you need to hear those stories to get you back in the game of life. And, when I got back from my trip, so I went to my trip, I stopped off at all these driver motorhome, saw a couple driver motorhome, different options and rigs and stuff like that. I call them rigs, but they're small motorhomes. But I was just like, wow, okay. So then I'm like thinking ahead, there's Denise, there's her show rig, and then there's her rekindled desire for true love with a healthy, secure partner. And then, doing the work that I do, I really do enjoy helping women. And what if all those things can be partnered together and married together? And I get to do all this in the next season of my life. And, I was thinking about all of those things together. And, I'm a logistics person, in the Marine Corps, putting all the things together, loading aircraft and loading ships and loading RVs and loading cars for trips. And I was just really thinking about, I know this is kind of a segue here, but I was thinking about, okay, I've got this driver motorhome, this rig now, this show rig, and I'm on the road. And what would I put in my rig? And that was kind of an interesting thought process the other day. And I was thinking, well, I like to dance, so I've got to have my dance shoes in there. And I love all types of Latin dance. So that would be, salsa and cha-cha. And I like tango and bachata. And so, I have to have my dance shoes. And I enjoy nature, so I have to have my hiking boots, and I have a kayak and a bike and a paddleboard, and I am a foodie too, so do I have a espresso machine, and do I bring my craft stuff because I'm creative? And, do I have an air chair? I love air chairs. So I like, the being able to relax and chill. And so I was just like, wow, there's a lot of sides to me. And, there's not a lot of storage space. And yet I want to do all those things. I want to go to, when I get my motorhome and when I start going on trips and adventures, I'm kind of part city girl. I'm part homebody. I'm part adventure girl. I'm part boho hippie chic girl. I'm part professional woman. And there's so many different sides of me. And, there's Marine girl, there's foodie, there's dress up girl. I like party dresses. And, I was just thinking back, this new and old weaving together. And, the other thing is I was always a giver in my relationship with my ex. And, I rarely was able to do the things that I love to do. And, me and a close friend of mine, we kind of called him the mayor. The mayor would always sit off and watch everybody. And he wasn't really a happy guy, but in dating, he was a happy guy. And in dating, he showed me that he was into people-powered sports and that he was into having fun and camping and all of that. And so I was like, well, in dating, this person really enjoyed these things, okay, great, check in the block, this fits. A large part of my life is about recreation. And wherever I decide to relocate, that's a major portion of what I seek for, and check out for. So, in dating, my ex showed me that, he was into hiking, into kayaking. We bought kayaks together. We went camping a lot. We shared that with friends. And then for me, I got a fully suspended mountain bike. And then he bought a bike. And then we went a few times. And then I kept having to, hey, when are we going to go again? And, when are we going to go do this? And, I kind of saw that as a partner event. And, then I got a paddleboard, and then I started going paddleboarding, and then he got a paddleboard. And I think he went twice. And, I ran a marathon and then, or started training for a marathon, and then he started training, and then he did the marathon. And we bought this driver motorhome and we went on it like a few times, and then that was it. And his thing was always about off-road sand dunes, like going on ATVs. And, I really gave of myself, when you're in partnership. I think it's good to really expand your horizons, whether it's with friends or a partner, to do their things that they're interested in. It creates a bond. You get to expand your horizons. And, his whole thing was just about off-roading. And, I got into it. I had an ATV and I had a helmet, I had riding gear, but that's all he ever wanted to do. And there was rarely trips to go adventure or look at, waterfalls or do people-powered sports. And, towards the end, I didn't really do a lot of riding. And, I hiked the dunes. That's me. I'm people-powered sports. And I brought my bike, and I had these really cool pair of roller skates. They're called skikes. They're kind of like ski skates. And, I would do that in the campground. And I guess I'm just sharing all this is that I lost myself. I lost my things that were truly Denise. And, I gave of all of myself to be with the ex and to go do his things. But, when it really came to my things, he wasn't interested in that. He didn't want to go to ballroom dancing lessons, and, he didn't want to explore those things. And I actually did some burlesque dancing classes, and, he wasn't supportive of those things that were creative and were Denise. And so I felt invalidated and it wasn't connecting at all. And so, that's the old, but moving forward, I really get to decide what I'm doing and who I'm doing it with and what I'm looking for in a partner. And a really important piece for me is having that partner that's into people-powered sports. And, I want to do things different. And I think it's sexy as hell when a guy wants to learn your stuff or is open to the experience of like ballroom dancing. And, there's a togetherness when one partner, you get to learn and teach and practice and have fun and laugh and get out of your own head and out of your own way. And I find it's just so sexy that when a partner wants to do your things and learn and grow, and that it can be a shared event. And, this next time I want a fun partner. I want somebody who's going to laugh and have fun and just brings out the best in me, and I bring out the best in him. And I just was thinking about dovetailing the new with the old. And, there's a lot to be said about second seasons in life and being able to do over and having a completely different mindset about how you move forward in finding true love. And, maybe it's opening of your heart and trusting yourself. I'll just leave you with a couple of questions that I kind of came up with. Like, the first one is, what's on your bucket list for you being single and being on your own? What's on your bucket list? Like, revisit that list. And the second one is how do you show all sides of you now? And how do you show that with yourself? And the third question is, how do you show all sides of yourself in relationship? And that's for me going to be a real big epiphany. And there's so many sides, and I want to show all of them. I'm just not one flavor. I'm many flavors of ice cream, and I'm many flavors of fun, and I'm a lot of flavors of all different things in life. So how do you show all sides of yourself in relationship? And do you shut yourself down? And, that's a good question to ask. And do you show all sides of yourself in life? When you're just navigating every single day, do you give yourself permission to do all of you, in whatever you choose to do on that day or that weekend or that week or month? And how do you do you? And so I just wanted to, share those thoughts with you, just as far as being in transition. There can be phases of, deep grief and loss and depression and despair. And, those are typical stages of grief. And there's going to be anger and bargaining and, all of that. And, when you are navigating all of that, there's also going to be rebirth and restoration and hope and all of that. And I just wanted to talk today about that. Like, how do you follow through for yourself, for yourself and in relationship and dating? And how do you show all sides of you? And I just wanted to say thank you for joining the video today. And I look forward to talking to you soon. And I hope you have a really great day. Take care.